Hello and welcome to Bonus. I guess you could say this is a bonus, as I did say you could anticipate the next bonus video on the 6th of November, and well, here we are on the 29th of October, a whole week early. I suppose I felt as though I should produce something, and I might as well lock in the weekly schedule as soon as I can. So now that I've finished the Black Ops 2 videos, some of you might be wondering where I'll be going with these, these add-on bonus videos, and, well, this is kind of the new direction. I've severed the link between the game and the videos and the bonus videos. Now, the bonus series is no longer linked to any one game, and it's no longer linked to any one video either. Instead, I'm going to go for a rock-solid weekly schedule every Wednesday. I know some of you have your doubts to my ability to stick to a regular schedule, but it is possible. And with the Ghost Weapon Guides likely to come out at a pace more rapid than one a week, I needed a new format that I could do every week, come rain or shine, regardless of my output on Xbox Ahoy. So here it is. Meet the new bonus, exactly the same as the old bonus, except I'm not tying it to one game. I'm playing some Modern Warfare 3. You might ask why, and it's a very good question. The simplest answer to that is I am currently testing formats for the Ghost Weapon Guides, and I wanted some footage to have a play around with. So I hopped onto Modern Warfare 3 and I played about an hour of free-for-all. I had a blast. It's such an exhilarating game. But these are just, I've just got a selection, I think, of 3 different free-for-all games. I'm not upholding them as spectacular gameplay, although there are quite nice moments in some of them. There are always, clips. So at some point in the next week, you might also see a weapon guide for the MP5 in Modern Warfare 3. Don't be afraid, it's not 2011, I'm just practicing the format. So, let's get on with the bonus video, and let's answer some of the questions from the last bonus video, as I'll be doing again next week, and the week after, and so on, ad infinitum. I'd have thought we'd run out of questions by now, but apparently you guys, you keep on coming up with the goods. So, if you do have any questions, leave them in the comments below, I'll pick them up next week. First up, Callum says, you have a problem with packs? I would not recommend you play CSGO, the skins can get very addictive. So I was talking about packs last week, and I mentioned how I liked the process of unwrapping stuff and discovering, ooh, I've got a rare, shiny, so on and so forth. And some of you mentioned other games which have packs, notably Hearthstone, FIFA, of course, a lot of people mentioned FIFA, and CSGO. And it's true, I do love packs. I don't have a problem. I think I can manage. For me, to really enjoy packs and pack opening, I have to be invested in the game. I have to actually enjoy playing the game. So, I don't play FIFA. I'm not really big on football games. I've got nothing against it, of course. And I do love packs, but the idea of opening packs to reveal, like, football stars isn't really enough for me to start playing FIFA. Although, I think every Xbox One in Europe does get a free copy of FIFA 14, so maybe that will change. Anyway, as far as CSGO is concerned, yeah, I've seen the skins in CSGO, and I want to like CSGO, but it's not my bag. You should know by now, I don't like tactics in my shooters, I like to just run around and shoot things, and, well, CSGO, I don't know, the round-based stuff doesn't really appeal. If I was a CSGO player, though, I really could see myself getting involved in that sort of thing. Captain Pacundo says, please consider recording on PC. Vegas is stable just fine if you're recording on DX3 using, say, Lagarith's codec. Please record on PC, because PC footage tends to be faster paced and a bit more intense. I had a few people telling me how DX Story was just fine for recording, but I think you might have misunderstood. When I say DX Story messes with my ability to edit footage, I didn't mean DX Story footage, I mean when I install DX Story, it actually alters my codecs in such a way that I physically cannot open my Blackmagic files in Vegas. And the Blackmagic is how I edit Xbox and PS3 footage. So I'm sure DX Story is just dandy for doing PC capture and editing, but it alters my ability to do Xbox stuff. And I probably could sort this out, but it's more effort than I want to expend. So for the small amount of PC recording that I do, Fraps is normally okay. Although I appreciate Fraps, there are a few problems with Fraps. Of course, the huge file sizes are the major pain of mine, and the fact that it's a little bit ropey. It's not the best capture solution by a mile. However, some of you pointed me towards a piece of software called Mirrorless Action, which I installed the free trial today, and I've got to say, I'm impressed with that software, I really am. That is a nice bit of recording kit. As you can probably tell, it hasn't altered my ability to edit and work with Xbox footage, so that's a plus when compared to DX Story. And I love the audio options in it as well. The ability to record 2 separate inputs on 2 separate channels on the same video file. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That is an absolute godsend as far as, content creators are concerned. So that is a nice bit of kit, and I actually might pick up the full version of that. It's only $20. And, well, yes, I know I could just pirate it, but I like to live in a world where content creators get rewarded. I even have a legitimate license for Sony Vegas, believe it or not. The way some of you guys are talking about Vegas, oh, just upgrade to Vegas 12, Stu, and I'm sure DX3 will work. Well, I don't really want to pay for the upgrade to Vegas 12, so presumably you're talking about getting a dodgy copy of Vegas. And I don't really want to do that because my Vegas 11 is stable as a rock, and I like it that way. Anyway, if you've just joined us, you're listening to CaptureChat, the #1 podcast about capturing footage. Mirrorless action actually really does look like a nice bit of kit, so I will give recording Battlefield 4 on Friday when it finally arrives. I'll give that a try and see how it works, see how it impacts my frame rate. My gaming PC, it's okay, it's not spectacular, it plays games. It's certainly not going to work on Ultra or anything like that, but it should look better than a typical, next-gen console, hopefully. So you never know, I might yet post some footage from my PC. I don't know, we'll see how it turns out. Tiny Robotic Piggy says, hey buddy, did you ever play proper RPG games like Baldur's Gate 2, or their offshoots like Icewind Dale? They always felt to me like a more refined and tactical version of Diablo, which really is just an exercise for your left mouse click. Around that era, probably the most hardcore RPG I played was Neverwinter Nights. Which, I don't know how hardcore that is. Is it hardcore enough? I don't know. But I enjoyed that. I was less impressed with the sequel, but I really liked Neverwinter Nights the first. Played a lot of that. I remember quite enjoying Dungeon Siege 2 as well. And before that, I must have played some RPGs on the Amiga as well. Hired Guns is a personal favourite of mine. It's kind of a lo-fi rendition of maybe something like Borderlands, except it was very, very cool. Fantastic music, fantastic ambiance. And I've played more than my fair share of Dungeon Master clones as well. Abandoned Places, that was always a favourite of mine. There was a game based on the television series of the same name called Nightmare, which was a Dungeon Master clone, which was actually really quite good fun. And what else? Oh, Eye of the Beholder was the kind of the definitive Amiga one. So yeah, I like RPGs. I dabble in them. I wouldn't consider myself a hardcore RPG player, but I do enjoy them from time to time. Ola Sarcasm asks, hey Stu, have you tried Chimay Blue? Pretty sure it's from Belgium, and it's pretty good. Yes, I've had my fair share of Chimay. They're one of the Trappist breweries, which is one of very, very few monastic orders which brew beer in Belgium, and also the south of the Netherlands as well. It's a good beer. I like the Trappist style. The Trappist style is probably one of the first types of beer that I really got into. I started with the wit beers like Hoegaarden, and then I got into the Belgian ales like Lef and Huldendrach, the Duivel, and going down that path long enough eventually leads you to the Trappists, and there's some really nice beers there. I think one of my favourite is Orval. Orval's a really nice one. West Vleteren as well, as that's one of quite high repute. But yes, I am a fan. Now, that's enough about beer. I know some of you don't drink. You get antsy when I talk too long about beer. That's alright, let's go back to video games. Mixmaster095 says, Stu, all the talk about Destiny, have you pre-ordered it? And have you participated in the beta? And it releases in spring 2014, I believe. I have pre-ordered it, yes. It's on my my Amazon pre-order list. As far as the beta, as far as I'm aware, there isn't a beta. I could be wrong on that front. Maybe there's a secret beta that I haven't been invited to. But I'm registered for the beta. And yes, I know the release date is spring 2014. I was talking a little bit about how I think, some games might slip. Some games already have slipped, but I think there may be more slippages. And until Destiny lock in a fixed date, I don't know. I think spring 2014, maybe it could turn into late spring 2014, early summer 2014. Who knows? Who knows? Until we get a solid date, it's tough to say when games are going to come. In an ideal world, it will come 3 months after Titanfall releases. So that will give me 3 months with Titanfall, and then I can do maybe 3 months with Destiny. Nuke Plus says, hey Stu, do you answer questions on the bonus vids? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. It used to be the case that I take them from my main channel, because I do one video a week and one bonus video a week. It kind of made sense. But I'm moving away from that model now, so it's probably a little bit easier for me if I take the questions from the last bonus video. So that's probably how I'm going to do it in the future. I had someone ask me on Reddit if I was going to take questions from Reddit, and I've had people ask me on Twitter if I take questions from Twitter, but I prefer to do a single source because it makes my life a little bit easier. Having said that, I might very well do like a Reddit special episode sometime, but I don't suppose it matters too much because, well, YouTube comments are, well, they're just fine for asking questions, really. Kozak Poland says, seriously, Stu, you prefer a casualized, dumbed-down, law-slaughtering abomination that is Fallout 3 over the real spiritual successor, made by the original creators of Fallout and capturing the essence of good games from the series, which is New Vegas. Now, I like New Vegas, but I also like Fallout 3. In fact, I like a lot of the ideas that they introduced in New Vegas. I loved the way they handle firearms. I think, the sort of the reloading aspect and the more realistic ammunition. I liked that. I really did. And New Vegas had a lot of charm, but I do think, and this is just my opinion, I think Fallout 3 was the better game. New Vegas had some fantastic ideas, but some of them were implemented poorly. Fallout 3 was more complete, better bug-tested, and I do want to say that some of my favourite moments from the recent Fallout games came from Fallout 3. I will say, without hesitation, that the DLC for Fallout 3 was much better than New Vegas. But no, I can get behind the idea, that it's nice to play a game that is more the child of Obsidian and Black Isle. I can get that, but I don't know. It's nice to be able to sort of stay true to the original series, but at the same time, there's much to be said for polish, and I know this is laughable coming from Bethesda, but compared to Obsidian, Bethesda do have a lick more polish. But hey, like I say, they're both good games. I enjoyed both of them thoroughly, and I've sunk hundreds of hours into each of them. I'd say New Vegas was more ambitious on the narrative front. I do like the branching sort of pathways, but I think they had less impact than Fallout 3's story. But these are just my opinions, and of course, if you prefer New Vegas, then that's great. That's gravy. That's super. That's fantastic. Matt Blackcore says, why can't anyone pronounce Caesar the right way? It's Kaiser, for God's sake. They even got it right in Fallout. Well, Caesar is the accepted English pronunciation, I believe. And as far as the original Latin, I'm not sure if anyone really knows how the Romans pronounced words. I'm not a scholar of history, I have to admit, but I think there is some debate whether Caesar or Kaiser is more correct. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's Eric Nes Bihal says, schedule? Yes, schedule. It is in fact the UK English way of saying schedule. Both schedule and schedule are commonly used here in the UK. Schedule is the American form, and I try to be consistent. I try to stick to UK conventions. Not because I have an agenda to push, just because, there are plenty of Americans on the internet and they do their own thing. And I think it's nice to stick to the British conventions, because that's really what I grew up with. So that's why I say schedule, even though it doesn't make a lot of sense, because we don't say shul, we say school. So it is what it is. English is a very inconsistent language. I just try to stick to convention where possible. A. Ferguson A50 says, hey Stu, any chance of a Just Dance 2014 guide? April's just 6 months away. I do need something for April Fool's Day, but I don't know what yet. I've got to say that I'm not really, I don't know, I'm more of a Dance Central guy than Just Dance. I really like the Harmonic series. Maybe they'll get around to releasing, what is it, Dance Central 3 we're up to now? You never know, it might very well crop up in a video. The DRK says, you said you refused to buy Minecraft on principle. What principle, what happened that made you decide that? I don't have like a vendetta against Mohang or Marcus Persson or anything like that. I really don't. I actually quite like Minecraft. The reason I'm so averse to buying it again is that I've bought it 3 times already. I think I've bought 2 licenses on PC, and I bought it for the Xbox 360 as well. So when it turns out that they're going to release it for the Xbox One as well, I'm thinking, do you know what? I've bought Minecraft enough. I really have. If I want to play the definitive version, I can play the PC version. I don't need to play a cut-down console version. I mean, I kind of like what they've done with the Xbox 360 version. They've added DLC, and I really like the ad hoc multiplayer. The fact that you don't need to bother setting up a server. You can just hop in, hop out to your friends' games, which is nice. It's nice. It's good. I just don't fancy buying it again. Mr. Explosive Mammal says, we can say Sodder if you guys can say Z. I mean, explain to me how 1 letter Z turns into 3 letters Z. Well, a cursory search on Google tells me it comes from the Greek zeta, which presumably turned into Zet, which turned into Z, and there you go. And at some point, you guys drop the D, and that's fine. You can do what you like. I mean, the same applies for Sodder. You can say Sodder if you like. It's just, it strikes me as odd. Just another one of those transatlantic idiosyncrasies, I suppose. You can give me grief for Lieutenant, if you feel like it. I know we say that funny, but I'm pinning that one on the French. French words in English, they are a funny thing, actually. Like 2 of them, car-related ones, in fact. Garage and coupe. That's the American pronunciation of two French words. Now, in England, we would say garage and coupe. So it's like, you know, there's the fancy French pronunciations, garage and coupe. And then there's the straight-to-the-point English pronunciation, garage, coupe. Which is all very well and good, but it seems like the English and the Americans have decided to mix up the two there and sort of swap one for the other, which is strange, but there it is. The English language, ladies and gentlemen. Nico Corpella asks, Stu, what's the difference between fudge and toffee? Well, they're both products made with caramelized sugar, but I believe fudge has cream added during the process, so it's a bit softer, and it has a dairy edge in there. Way469 says, I'll wait for your BF4 coverage with bated breath. Will you be covering the vehicles and all their unlocks and defences? At this point, I'm not 100% sure on my approach with Battlefield 4. There's a few different options open to me. I could either talk about weapons on a sort of per class sort of basis, maybe one video per class of weapon, you know, maybe one for DMRs, one for sniper rifles, one for, you know, so on and so forth like that. Or I could do individual weapon videos and do a conventional weapon guide. It seems as though the weapons are quite statistically similar. There's only really minor differences between them, which is good, you know, from a balance perspective. But maybe individual weapon videos will become a little bit repetitive, so I don't know. As far as vehicles are concerned, I think I see myself playing a lot of Domination, which doesn't have any vehicles, because it will be easier for me to get consistent gun clips without running into, you know, like a tank or something and having to switch to a launcher. But there's no reason why I couldn't hop into a Conquest game and, you know, maybe play with the vehicles if I was to do a special vehicle guide. And it's a possibility, but it depends on how much time I have. It depends on what I want to do at the time, really. But the potential of a vehicle guide is on my mind. I'll see what I can fit in before Titanfall, anyway. Skatelines1 asks, Hey Stu, do you like cheesecake? I love cheesecake, probably one of my favourite desserts. In fact, any dessert which is basically a large lump of homogeneous dairy product, I like. Panna cotta, it's just cooked cream. Brilliant, love it. Cheesecake, it's literally a cake made out of cheese. I love it. Creme brulee, it's burnt cream. Yes, please. I own Owl 3 says, some people refer to all SUVs as Jeeps, or all diapers as Pampers. Yeah, this is something that's quite common. I want to say it's quite an American thing to take a brand name and use it as a generic. I mean, stuff like Xerox, Kleenex, these are terms that get used as the generic quite often. But we do it in the UK as well. I mean, we tend not to call vacuum cleaners too often. We call them Hoovers. Even though now it's probably Dyson that's the premier brand, we still call them Hoovers. We own a Dyson, but the girlfriend still says to me, are you going to Hoover? It's not a Hoover, dear, it's a Dyson. And then, of course, another very egregious example when it comes to internet search engines. We no longer search for things. We Google them. Anyway, I'm not a big fan of these brand names as generic terms, but they are quite insidious sometimes. Lex1020 says, BF4 and 360 and PS3 looking terrible was because it was a demo. Remember BF3 beta? That looked terrible too, because they had limited space that they could put in a demo. Remember when BF3 actually launched and there was a graphics install? It added high-res textures. Same will happen with BF4. You're probably right, yes, there will be a high-resolution texture update. But all the same, I'm content to wait for the next-gen console versions before I start playing on console. In the meantime, I have bought the PC version, so I'll be playing on that. Finally, the man with a fan says, Stu, what is spotted dick? Not as bad as it sounds, is the answer to that one. It's basically a sponge pudding with currants. A very traditional English dessert, usually slathered with custard or something. And it's good, it's not bad, it's just sponge, currants and custard. It's, you know, it's a perfectly cromulent combination. Anyway, that's the end of the third free-for-all. That's about 19 minutes. I'm not sure how long these bonus videos will be. As long as they need to be, I suppose. I know if I asked you guys, you'd probably just tell me, oh, make them as long as you can, Stu, maybe an hour. But I think about 20 minutes is a good trade-off, really. Anyway, I shall leave you now for another week. Of course, next week, Ghosts will be out, and you'll probably see some of my first games in the bonus footage then, as good or bad as they might be. So, until then, farewell.